Hey, what's up guys, Benny here, and welcome to the 10 most overpowered weapons in Call of Duty Vanguard multiplayer, ranked from worst to best. So you know exactly what guns you need to rank up first, as well as the best class setups. So in 10th place, we have a gun that we've already all experienced, with it being added to Call of Duty Warzone in the Vanguard Battle Pass, where it didn't really blow us away. However, in Vanguard multiplayer, it has a 2-shot kill potential with a very fast base TTK of 400 milliseconds. This is due to dealing 60 damage per shot to the chest and then 90 for a headshot, which means you'll always need 2 shots for a kill, as the base health in multiplayer is 100. This means you don't have to worry about being too precise while using the M1 Garand, because the recoil is non-existent, as there's only just a very slight amount of vertical kick and 0 horizontal. Now, if you're wanting to use the M1 Garand, you'll need to have a slower playstyle, as you won't get away with running around the map like crazy, with a fairly slow sprint to fire time of 315 milliseconds and an ADS of 347. SMGs and most assault rifles will tear you to shreds, so try and hold down positions and control the lanes. So for the muzzle on the M1 Garand, you're going to have that MX silencer for sound suppression and increased accuracy. Then you're going to go for the Cooper 25-inch custom barrel, highly accurate and controllable. And for me, more importantly, it reduces that scope sway and gun bob, which with a semi-auto weapon means that you're going to be able to hit your shots and kind of not get distracted by that kind of like sway. Do not undervalue that. Then the G16 2.5 times scope, for me personally, has been my favorite out of all the testing that I've done. Then we've got the Cooper adjustable. Now, this is a really interesting stock because it improves your accuracy for your initial shots. When you start firing, they're going to go dead center. You are not going to miss at all. So that is really, really key. Then the most interesting thing for me is because there's 10 attachments on these guns, you've got 2 new things, which are effectively weapon perks. So we've got proficiency. These are all different for every single weapon, so all marksman rifles aren't going to have the same one. Some go across all of them, some don't, but for the M1 Garand, because it does 90 damage for a headshot, you don't want vital, even though increased area for critical hits is huge on some other weapons. Personally, because I'm using mid to long range fights for this weapon, I use spotter, so I can easily spot enemies as they're moving around. I remember back in like Modern Warfare 3, it was a huge perk and really does help. So try out spotter. Then you've got the fabric grip in there for increased ADS, sprint to fire, and hip fire. The most important though is the mag choices. Now, each different ammo mag, and this goes across all weapons, and why I really recommend using the ammo types that I recommend, because I've created a whole spreadsheet. There is a link to that down in the description, identifying the TTKs of every single mag type for different guns. So I've gone for the ones that are going to give you the fastest TTK and are going to allow you to perform the best throughout this entire video. But for this for the M1 Garand, that is the .30 06 round mags. I go for the 16 round drum. The ADS penalty that you get between these two is minimal. And you know, you want 16 bullets, trust me. So go for that. Then the heavy foregrip, and then the ammo type is also a really important thing throughout this entire video as well. You've got a whole brand new thing. You get to change the ammo, and they kind of give you a few different benefits. FMJ rounds give you bullet penetration. Subsonic is effectively, if you don't want to run a silencer, you can run subsonic rounds, and you'll get the same benefit as a weapon silencer. So, you know, it makes a load more muzzles viable for different builds and different kind of like approaches to the game. Incendiary aren't that great. They're annoying, but it's just a little bit of burn damage. I personally don't think they're that great. Armor piercing is going to help for vehicles and kill streaks. Hollow point rounds are probably some of the best in the game. It means that limb damage, so like your arms and legs, will do the same amount of damage as to the chest. A little bit overpowered, and damage range isn't that much. It's a drop in 10%. And when you've got M1 Garand, which is 2,250, that's like I think it's about 90 meters still. So yeah, hollow points all the way. Frangible will slow your enemy and stop them being able to heal. And then lengthened is a 30% increase in bullet velocity. So in Warzone, they're going to be huge for most guns. But for this, for multiplayer, for the M1 Garand, I've gone hollow point, and then we've got the heavy foregrip. Next, we have what is one of my favorite SMGs in Vanguard because it's very unique and super versatile, and that's the Owen Gun. I think the best thing to compare it to is the long-range Milano that we used in Warzone, but it has little to no recoil with the build that I use and one of the fastest TTKs in the game, with you having a TTK of around 348 milliseconds, without taking into account headshots, which will allow you to two-shot kill anyone at a distance with an SMG if you're accurate enough, which is pretty impressive, especially on some of the larger multiplayer maps. The Owen Gun is going to give you the perfect combination of high mobility and stopping power, with its only con really being the large mag obscuring the right-hand side of your screen. Definitely a meta SMG and a gun you'll want to definitely rank up, as it's going to be the perfect sniper support weapon come the Warzone integration. For the best Owen Gun class setup, you've got the Mercury silencer, the Hawkinson 305mm precision, which gives you an increase in headshot damage. That is what allows you to deal 96 damage for a single headshot, so you get those two-shot kills. Pretty ridiculous, to be honest, but key to this weapon build. Then you've got the G16 2.5 times scope, the remove stock, which just so you got higher mobility. Then the proficiency is brace, which gives you initial accuracy and recoil. So when you start shooting, you're just going to be laser focused and be able to hit those long range shots. Then the kit, I go for quick for faster sprint speed, then stippled grip for recoil recovery and initial accuracy and recoil, the 8mm Kurz 60 round drum with hollow point rounds, and then the Mark 6 skeletal underbarrel. Next, we have the DP27 LMG, and this is a weapon category I think we'll see used a lot more often, because even though you get far less mobility than compared to the assault rifles and SMGs, the combination of the high fire rate and some of the fastest time to kill potentials in the game of 246 milliseconds at the longest ranges, the DP27 is obscene. And what makes my DP27 build so incredible is that the recoil is really easy to control, allowing you to snap onto multiple opponents and take them out with ease. Something to be aware of is the painfully slow reload speed, so make sure to pick your moments when you need to reload or be ready to swap to your secondary. But it's a really fun gun to use and perfect for holding down objectives like in domination, but if you're running around the map too much, that slow ADS time will hurt you. So the best class setup for the DP27 is the Mercury silencer, the ZAC 595mm Falchion barrel, which gives you aim down sight speed, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire speed, the G16 2.5 times scope, the ZAC S2M stock for horizontal recoil control, so you don't get that kind of side to side. It means that you can it's a lot easier to control, especially on a controller. The proficiency is hard scope, which gives you better accuracy while you're in sustained ADS, so if you're pre-firing, that's going to work really nicely. The kit is on hand for equipment dexterity. The polymer grip gives you flinch resistance, so in a one-on-one gunfight, if they're hitting you as well, your gun's not going to move all over the place, and also an increase in accuracy and recoil during sustained fire, which with an LMG is pretty good. Then the important thing is the 81 round pan of the 3006 ammo. So make sure you're using that, and then hollow point rounds on there, and then the Mark 6 skeletal underbarrel as well. Next up, we have the Type 99 sniper, and I honestly do not know what Sledgehammer were thinking with this. It's got the fastest ADS potential out of all the snipers, combined with a one-shot kill to the chest, which is increased even more with the vital proficiency, making this the new quickscope sniper that everyone's going to be using. And now, I'm not the great sniper in the game, but I was able to throw the G16 2.5 times scope on and use this almost like an aggressive marksman rifle, where I have a one-shot kill guarantee with my class setup. I can't even remember during my weapon testing a time where I'd get a hit marker, but so far it's been my only concern with weapon balancing is the ease of use of the snipers, though I know a load of you will be really happy that snipers are definitely viable. It might just be too good with an ADS time of 474 milliseconds with the G16 optic, and that can be made to be even faster with a couple of other attachment changes. Overall, an incredible weapon that in the right hands would be even higher up on this list. So for the overpowered Type 99, you've got the Mercury Silencer, the Shirashi Short. Just because you get a faster ADS and sprint to fire speed, you don't really need the bullet velocity increase because, as I said, it's already at like 75 meters or so, or 60 meters, I believe, for the one-shot kill with this setup. Then the G16 2.5 times scope. If you just want a regular sniper, you can get rid of that or try out the different scopes yourself. The Secura CVR Custom, the initial shots when firing, just make sure that it's dead center of that first shot, no bounce whatsoever. Vital is key to this because it gives you an increased area for critical hits. That means that those further distances, you're still going to be able to easily get one-shot kills with this particular weapon. Kit, deep breath if you're using a regular sniper scope. Taped grip for fast, better aiming stability and weapon swap quickness, so you can go to your secondary quicker if someone gets close or you're in the middle of a reload. And the aiming stability just means that when you scope in, it's going to be dead center, really easy to quick scope opponents. The important thing is the 8mm Claws of 5-round mag. This gives you the one-shot kill to the chest, right? This is what makes the gun overpowered, so make sure you're using it. It's unbelievable. Sadly, only a 5-round mag, but it's enough. Then I use lengthen just to increase that bullet velocity, so it's like hit scan, and it's a lot easier to hit your shots. You don't need hollow points on this because they do a different thing on snipers. It just gives you increased flinch stealth, which isn't very helpful. Then the heavy foregrip to finish off more aiming stability, recoil recovery, and aim walking steadiness, and that is the Type 99 setup. Now, in 6th place, we've got the combat shotgun, which is completely and utterly broken. It probably should be number 1 in this video, but it's a shotgun, so I just couldn't do that. But somehow, the combat shotgun is just a monster. I've never used an easier weapon in Call of Duty history. The one-shot kill range from both ADS and hipfire is ridiculous, with a very good fire rate and a 10-round mag, which you can reload like an SMG, so you'll never get caught loading in multiple slugs at a time. The hipfire is super strong and very, very easy to use. Did I mention that combat shotgun is easy to use? But I can already see this being the first gun to receive a nerf in Vanguard because of how powerful it is. It's got the fastest TTK in the entire game because it's instant and does not give people a chance to react up close due to its 15-meter effective damage range. 15 meters for a shotgun. My build even helps tighten the pellet spread, and as you can see, makes getting those one-shot kills super easy, partially due to the vital proficiency. So for the overpowered combat shotgun class setup, you want the M97 full choke for that tighter pellet spread. Now, importantly, you need the sword-off barrel. This gives you a wider pellet spread, which is countered by your muzzle, increase the movement speed, and also that increase of damage, which does 140 base damage and then 154 vital. Little bit of a joke, if I'm being completely honest. I don't bother using an optic with the shotgun personally. You can go with whatever you like though. The wire custom then gives you better hip fire accuracy, aim down sight speed and movement speed, just for a punishment of recoil. And it's a shotgun. You don't need to worry about recoil. You're not firing multiple shots off all the time. Proficiency vital, so you get more vital hits with your pellets, which gives you more consistent one-shot kills. Quick, so you run around faster. Stippled grip tape gives you better recoil recovery, which, to be honest, isn't actually needed. I would instead go for a fabric grip for better sprint to fire speed on this particular setup. Then you've got the 16 gauge 10-round drum. That's really important. And then I use packed powder. That increases the damage range, which means that you're able to get those one-shot kills at 300 inches. 300 inches, which is 15 meters. It is ridiculous, to be honest. And then finally, the Mark 6 skeletal stock to wrap it up, but this is completely and utterly broken. Then in 5th place, we have the Volk assault rifle. This is actually the last gun you unlock in Vanguard at rank 55 and is very, very good. This is the best high fire rate assault rifle in the game with low recoil and a fast TTK of 261 milliseconds using the Russian short magazine. Now for me, the Volk has everything you want with an assault rifle. It's got high fire rate so you can make corrections. Its effective damage range and bullet velocity is high, making it easy to take down enemies at a distance with that high bullet velocity, giving you that feeling of hit scan, so it's easier to land your shots when tracking an opponent. Also, it's got one of the fastest aim down sight times with the assault rifles, making it perfect for transitioning around the map and quickly snapping onto opponents. But just be aware, its only con is its flinch resistance isn't as high due to the perfectionist proficiency, you'll want to choose to get that no recoil feeling. And then for the Volk class setup, and no, I'm not going to say the name because I will butcher it every single time. We have the Mercury silencer on the muzzle. Then we got the Krosnik 428mm 05V barrel, which is highly accurate and controllable, reduced scope sway and gun bob, and increased damage range. Really, really important. Only a punishment to your sprint to fire and hip fire accuracy. And like, to be honest, when are you hip firing with an assault rifle? G16 2.5 times scope. The Krosnik S12V PS stock pretty much gives you better recoil completely. It makes it an absolute laser and helps eliminate that horizontal recoil, which I think is really, really important. The proficiency is perfectionist, which gives you better recoil control. The on hand then means you can throw your like stuns, grenades quicker and then get back to being able to shoot. The polymer grip gives you that flinch resistance and then axiom recoil during sustained fire, which I think is huge. That flinch resistance really helps. I remember when toughness used to be one of the best perks in Call of Duty, so you just didn't flinch. You won a lot more 1v1 gunfights. Then you want the 30 Russian short round, 45 round drum mag as your ammo, the hollow point rounds, and then the M19 41 hand stop for better. Then in fourth place, one of my favorite guns from Warzone and now in Vanguard, the PPSH. This SMG will honestly be like the Mac 10 from Warzone because it has the fastest fire rate out of all the SMGs in the game at over 1,000 rounds per minute, which can then also give it the fastest TTK out of all the SMGs at 207 milliseconds with the Russian short ammo, and then 290 with the 8mm without taking headshots into account. Though one thing to be aware of is you need to almost burst fire it. If you hold down the trigger for too long, you get a lot more recoil, making it harder to hit your shots due to the Zach folding stock, which improves the accuracy of your initial shots. And that's perfect in multiplayer because you want to take full advantage of the game's rotational and standard aim assist, so quickly snapping onto targets is ideal. And with an ADS of around 223 milliseconds, that's easy to do. One of the best SMGs and will dominate in Warzone when everyone's health pool is increased to 250, so level this up. Then this is the PPSH class setup that you're going to want. The Mercury silencer, the Zach 300mm barrel, the slate reflector optic, the Zach folding stock. I mentioned this earlier. It's really key for that, like the overpowered setup. Those initial shots when firing with a high fire rate weapon just turns it into a laser and you get those really fast time to kills super consistently. The proficiency is tight grip because then you get axiom recoil during sustained fire, which kind of counters the recoil that comes in once the initial shots happen, so you can still land your shots. Then kit is quick with SMG, so you get faster sprint speed. Stippled grip tape for better recoil, recovery, and then centering. 7.62 71 round drum mag. You can take out loads of enemies without worrying about having to reload. Hollow point rounds, so you get those increased limb damage. And then the Carver foregrip for better recoil and hip fire accuracy has worked best for me. So make sure to try this. Probably my favorite SMG in the game. Then in third place for the best guns in Call of Duty Vanguard, we have another LMG, the MG42. Now, the Modern Warfare MG was awful, but this one is just overpowered. It's got one of the fastest time to kills in the game at 236 milliseconds, but a huge 125 round mag, no recoil whatsoever, and a fire rate of over 1,016 rounds per minute. You can take someone down with just 4 bullets. Plus, the recoil is really easy to control, along with really high bullet penetration due to the anti-material rounds. So if someone is hiding behind cover, it's not really going to make much of a difference. It also deals a lot of damage to vehicles, so if someone calls in a streak, you'll be able to quickly take it out. Personally, I'm just excited to see that LMGs are going to be viable in Vanguard, though it's going to be difficult to take someone out if they set up shop and camp with this gun. So this is the MG42 class setup. You got the Mercury silencer, the VDD 680mm 31 barrel, first one you unlock, G16 optic, the Krosnik S91 MG stock, which gives you better horizontal. Honestly, horizontal recoil needs to be eliminated as much as possible with high fire rate weapons, just so then you can control the vertical. You're going to get a lot more consistent. You're going to be a lot more consistent with the game. Proficiency, tight grip, because you're going to be spraying this thing a lot of the time. Then the kit is on hand. The fabric grip for faster ADS, sprint to fire, and hip fire recoil. the 30mm anti-material 125 round drum mag. Now this gives you increased bullet velocity and range, bullet penetration, but also increased damage, so you get those 4 bullet kills at very long ranges. Sadly, that means you don't get to get an ammo type, but this is just so powerful. It's pretty much giving you increased damage, so you're going to want that. And then the heavy foregrip for better aiming stability, recoil recovery, and aim walking steadiness. In second place for the best guns in Call of Duty Vanguard, we actually have one of the very first weapons that you get access to, and it's the MP40. Personally, I'm super excited about this because the MP40 is just a classic Call of Duty gun. And what makes it stand out against the others is its large 64 round 9mm drum mag, the fact that it also allows you to gain dead silence temporarily after getting a kill with the unmarked proficiency. So if you're running around an enemy spawn, it's going to be so difficult for them to pinpoint your location. It also has a very fast base TTK of around 400 milliseconds, which initially doesn't sound great, but that falls very quickly if you manage to land a headshot, with the MP40 dealing 49 damage for a headshot, making it a 3-bullet kill and dropping the TTK down to 300 milliseconds. That, combined with the fastest ADS and sprint to fire speeds, gives you the fastest real TTK in the game out of the SMGs. Plus, it's super easy to use, which I think is so important with any gun in Call of Duty multiplayer for it to be one of the best. So the MP40 class setup, which is the first gun you unlock in the game, the Mercury silencer, you then want the Krosnik 221mm 01B barrel for faster ADS, hip fire, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire speed. The NIDAR Model 47, you can change this. I know the slate reflector is also really nice. It's what I personally used on the PPSH. The VDD 34mm padded stock. The unmarked proficiency, which is what gives you silent footsteps after kills, so you can run around enemy spawns. Kit, quick, all the time you want that on SMGs. Stippled grip tape for recoil recovery and initial accuracy and recoil. Then the 9mm 64 round drum mag. The lengthened ammo type, because the bullet velocity is awful on the MP40. You need that increase of 30% so it feels good at those kind of little further ranges outside of short range. Then you want the M1941 hand stop for recoil control and increased accuracy. And that's the MP40. And in first place, we have the BAR assault rifle. Now, I know we joke about guns having no recoil in Call of Duty, but the BAR literally has none. It also kills a player in just 2 bullets at pretty much any range in the entire game, with a bullet velocity of over 1,380 meters a second. Like, I was honestly blown away when I first started testing this, because the bullet velocity makes the gun hit scan, so even though it's got a slow fire rate of 365 rounds per minute, you just don't really miss because it goes exactly where you aim. Now, the mag size is low, so I combat that with sleight of hand, but if you want an assault rifle that has no recoil whatsoever, only a slight bit of vertical, this is the assault rifle you want to use. It's also unlocked at around level 25, so you'll unlock it fairly early on. Plus, when it comes to Warzone, it's going to be the long-range meta assault rifle, easily. So this is my best BAR class setup, and you'll notice there is no barrel. So I've got the Mercury silencer. I don't have a barrel because the punishments you get aren't worth the negatives. It really isn't. You don't need it. You want the faster ADS speed, but you don't want that increase of 100% of vertical recoil. It just makes it not as much of a laser, even though it gives you effective damage range increase. But who needs effective damage range of 4,335 inches? You just don't need it. Then I use the G16 2.5 times optic, the Cooper SP stock, which gives you that huge aiming stability, which kind of helps us make it like an absolute laser. Sleight of hand, because you've got a really small mag with the BAR. It's only 30 rounds. Even though it's a slow fire rate, that sleight of hand really helps you kind of make sure that you're not caught out reloading. I then just run fully loaded so that I can run a separate... I don't have to run Scavenger as a perk. I can run something else. Fabric grip for ADS, sprint to fire, and hip fire recoil. The .50 BMG 30 round mag with the lengthened ammo type for that bullet velocity, so it just like hits my target because I've got that slow fire rate. I don't want to be having to gauge where I'm shooting. I just want to be able to lock on, take full advantage of the game's aim assist and hit them straight. And then you've got the M1941 hand stop, and that those are the top 10 best weapons in Call of Duty Vanguard. Like, I had an absolute blast testing all these. And as I said, there is a link in the description to a spreadsheet with all the TTKs if you want to go check it out. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time for more Call of Duty Vanguard and Warzone. Thanks for watching.